Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, great to welcome once again to the radio from the Greater Wellington Regional Council, Penny Gaylor, Kapiti representative. Good morning and welcome to you, Penny.
Thank you. Good morning.
Last time we talked, you were talking about an environmental package that you and your team have put a lot of work into. How is that going?
Really well. So I'm sure people are aware that the government had announced that there was this, what the central government talk about is that first wave of that immediate response that through lockdown during level 4, the government was putting in place immediately the subsidies, the wage subsidies and the supports for businesses and all that. So that was sorted and up and running incredibly quickly, wasn't it? And then the wave 2 was around the government calling for organisations, as the regional council did, to put in a bid for infrastructure investment. So that was a medium-term stuff that the government would help, essentially it's about gearing up jobs, understanding that there would be huge job losses, and how do we, generate, kind of kickstart the economy. So the regional council, along with probably every single council in the country, put in a bid for investment opportunities, not just roads, of course. In there was reinforcing a bid we already had around new trains, and then alongside that, without even being asked, we took the initiative and put in an environmental investment bid, and very much focused on, yes, these are the jobs that environmental projects can, develop and encourage and produce, and these also have the shared, desire of goal of government of actually wanting to manage the climate change impacts. So we put a bid in for that. Very heartened that the latest word I've received as chair of the Environment Committee is that they've come back to us and asked us for some follow-up information, just another couple of columns of detail. So that's a very encouraging sign. Yeah, they didn't put it in the you're joking pile, or you've got to be kidding pile, or get real pile. They put it into the, this is very appealing pile, and this could get us somewhere pile. So that's probably not technical terms, John, but so that's really good to hear. And so what we're also doing at Regional Council, and we weren't doing that off on our own, like leaving everybody else behind. The really cool thing that happened here was when we were talking to the Minister of Conservation about this, she said that, look, this is a really good template that Wellington Regional Council's developed. Work with your colleagues right across the regional sector and get everybody, having it kind of look the same way so we could compare things. And so we worked with other regional councils in an incredibly quick and short turnaround. A very good job from everybody. So everybody worked really well together, so good on them. So now we're on to the kind of a second cut of that. So we did stuff that was, as they say, shovel ready. And then it was for that kind of immediate to medium term stuff that we identified that we've proven that we can do this stuff. This is pushing it out into kind of bigger and better. It was stuff that we'd always hoped to do, that we had planned to do, but it just was so far out because, we couldn't overtax our ratepayers. So this is the opportunity to really kickstart some work that we really wanted to do as soon as possible, and this would help us get there big time. And then this next lot is another lot of projects again. So, we've, there's no shortage of brilliant ideas, but we have to prove that they will add the value that the government's looking for, and that's about jobs, and that's about, as I say, ensuring that the government can reach its previously stated environmental outcomes around climate change.
When do you think you'll get specific information about projects that will go ahead?
I don't know. This is a uncharted territory. This isn't in any textbook about, it's this time of the year we do this and they get back to us and all these sort of steps. So, the government's turning everything around very quickly. Obviously, they're looking at our our bids very quickly. That they've already come back, and we've had to get stuff back to them by the end of play today, with sort of some extra bits of information. So, going well.
Going well, excellent.
Going well.
I believe you may have received some good news from the New Zealand Transport Agency.
Yeah, so here we go, John. Bit excited to share this. This predates even me being on regional council. The whole capital connection, wanting to save the capital connection. Then when I got onto regional council, discovering that maybe we could actually even pull off a better option. Of course, for everybody around this district in North, is electrification. Wouldn't that be the dream?
Yes.
That's the long-term plan. But we need some medium sort of solutions anyway. We have a capital connection train unit that gives us one service a day during the week only. So coupled up with a whole lot of other, needs from the regional council to provide public transport in the future, because it's just so popular in this region. Plus, the Wairarapa has got very old trains that need replacing. So happened to work out that we figured out a way that we could get those trains, get us some trains here on the Kapiti coast going through to Palmy, making sure they're the same kind of train, put in a bigger, better bit. We get economies of scale. Also, let's make sure they're the kind of trains that then we can utilise throughout the entire network, because capacity is going to be very challenging very soon for us. So we have worked on a business case for the last couple of years. We put that bid into Treasury the end of last year, and things were looking good in terms of the commitment from government around certain infrastructure investments. So that's the kind of the maintenance and essentially the rail, the tracks that any trains go on, and the stuff that goes overhead, stuff that's existing, that's in place, that needed that had not had the maintenance that it needed and needed to be upgraded. So what the announcement is that having received our business case, they are now, NZTA has just announced today with us that they're committing $5 million to support a detailed business case about and then to actually, essentially exactly what kind of trains, and then commence a procurement for regional trains. So, gosh, isn't this looking good?
Well, what do they mean by commence procurement? That to me sounds as if it's a long way down the track.
Well, and this is the timeline I've always been saying, you don't go and buy a train set like your Lego in a nice wee box off out of your big department store. Trains are hugely expensive, and as anybody will know in any kind of business, the bigger the budget, the more care you must take. And this is public money, so we must take extreme care. And we've got to get it right, because, and then we're landed with them, and we have to make sure they're going to work and fit the needs of the line that they service, integrating with all the other kind of train stations, the lines we've got, just all those sorts of things, toilets. What is actually going to power these things is a huge thing, because we're so close but on the cusp of all the new technologies at this time. And so, we want to be getting that right, because we don't want kind of energy redundant kind of train sets having spent, say $400 million, and then 2 years later you go, oh, if only we'd got a bit better. If only we'd spent another $50 million and got the such and such one out of France or whatever.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, isn't it?
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And so that's why, it's a lot of money, but why they wouldn't spend it. I go into my whispering voice. They wouldn't spend it right if they didn't have very good intentions, right?
Yes, precisely.
Oh, you probably didn't see that wink either.
It's one of the problems with radio. You talk about capacity. I used to travel the Capital Connection every day, and I was amazed to hear recently it's had an annual growth rate of about 3.5%, and that it's fast approaching full capacity. When I was travelling in the Capital Connection, you could rattle around, with the exception of Friday night, which was always very, very popular and very liquid, I might say. But with that exception, that there was quite a lot of extra capacity. So things have really picked up with the Capital Connection, haven't they?
Yes, absolutely. So, people have stayed with it and more people are getting to it. So this is brilliant. And it's also the examples of, yes, there are other kinds of travellers who are taking it in on a Monday morning and coming back on a Friday afternoon. But if we need, what we really, to support the, spending an awful lot of money, is the fact that we want to have carriages that we can then use right across our network, whether it's on the Kapiti line, the Poirua line. It'll be everything but the Johnsonville line. It'll be the Hutt line. So, when you then take a carriage out to do a bit of repairs and maintenance, that you've got these ones ready to rock and roll. Or that if you go, oh my goodness, we've just got this, and we've been talking about the chair, Darren Pontus, talks about people are getting towards being packed in like sardines.
Yes.
Because right across the network, the train, and particularly in the Kapiti line, the increase in patronage is around about 7-8%.
Wow.
So anything you see on the trains right now is, of course, nothing like how it was tracking. And we were going, we just can't get these new trains fast enough, because if this keeps happening, we will have to expect that before these new trains arrive, it will be squishy.
Yes.
So, we can't have this happen soon enough, but it's a lot of money. We have to spend that money wisely and get it right. And so this makes sure that we get it sorted in the best possible way for the use of public money. But, when we're talking about a commensurate procurement of trains, we're talking about a process that is a global process. We'll be calling for tenders from right around the world, potentially from anywhere in the world. So it's a big deal, and it's not like comparison of it most likely won't be buying local, but that in itself, has the trick about it. So yeah, and it's a big process, and it's our money and their money. We've, luckily in the time I've been on regional council, we've secured some money into our long-term plan to support this, but very shy of the whole shebang.
Wow.
Very exciting, great news for our district, because it means that that vital service that we have for Otaki and North, has the chance to not only survive, but what we've been proposing is to have, at least for a starter, double the services. So 2 services in the morning and 2 services in the afternoon. And again, I go into my whispering voice, and let's just keep growing that service and get more in between.
Excellent. Best news I've heard for ages. Wonderful to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us, Penny Gaylor.
Thank you.
106.3 Beach FM.